Yeah, I'm glad you gave me the chance to clarify that a little bit, actually, though, because I did want to point out that it doesn't mean that it's all the way through to final release necessarily. It just needs to line up with some meaningful outcome. I'm just thinking about what you were saying in terms of, you get a $10,000 donor to a $500,000 project. We see some of the same stuff with crowdfunding. With someone, we just had a project launched last week, actually, which is called the Birth Time documentary. So it's a film exploring the natural birth movement, and they'd realised that they hadn't done any work kind of around First Nations and their birthing practices, and they wanted to do some specific research on a trip and filming to do that. And they're raising right now $15,000, and they got past 10 on like the first day. They definitely should have set their target a bit higher. They had a very kind of excited community. And I guess what I'd say in general, though, is that it is work and you have to embrace it. I don't think it can be avoided. I think it is part of the job, and it might have always been part of the job of arts to maintain. It used to be that you had to kind of maintain very strong relationships with a couple of benefactors or patrons. You had to show up when the king told you to show up and whatever, and that was just involved in maintaining that support.
King. Yeah.
Yeah, and now it's a little bit different. You might need to maintain a Twitter account and a Facebook page or what have you, or a Pinterest, or, it's figuring out, I think the rule of thumb in general, and I used to be a social media director, and people would ask me this a lot when it was early for not-for-profits having to take on social media, and they're like, this sounds like a full-time job. You get people presenting at conferences, and they're always from like giant charities who literally do have a full-time person for Twitter or a full-time person for Facebook. People are like, we have one comms person for everything. What do we do? And my rule of thumb, and I think it's the same here, is kind of only do what you can do and do it properly. Don't end up doing like 6 platforms badly. If you only have the bandwidth for one, pick one and be great at it. Be great at Instagram. Share a couple of really thoughtful images every day and put like meaningful, something meaningful about that, and share of yourself, and think about the right hashtags even to connect with people, and be good at that one medium. And that's not going to be a full-time job. That might be 20 minutes a day. And over time, you'll get really good at that, and maybe then you'll take on a second one as your time increases. But I think just do it. You have to do something. You have to maintain, obviously, relationships in the real world and online, and just taking on what you can do and trying to do it effectively and consistently. I think you mentioned earlier, consistency of production is always really key.